The nature of Force lightning is one of the most iconic and feared manifestations of the dark side of the Force in the Star Wars universe. This devastating power, often wielded by the most malevolent and powerful Sith Lords, epitomizes the destructive and corrupting nature of the dark side itself. More than just an offensive weapon, Force lightning is a tangible expression of hatred, rage, and domination, fueled by the user's mastery of negative emotions and their willingness to embrace the dark side fully. Understanding its nature requires examining its mechanics, the emotions that fuel it, its devastating effects, and its broader philosophical implications. Force lightning is a dark side technique that involves channeling the user's connection to the Force to generate and project electrical energy. Unlike natural electricity, Force lightning is not a product of physics but an unnatural energy created by the dark side. This energy is conjured through the manipulation of the Force, which allows the user to shape their hatred and rage into destructive lightning bolts. The energy is typically directed through the user's hands, though its intensity, range, and destructive capacity depend on the skill and power of the wielder. The creation of Force lightning requires a complete surrender to the dark side. The wielder must focus their hatred, fear, and anger into a singular destructive intent, allowing these emotions to act as a catalyst for the energy. In this way, the ability to produce Force lightning is both a physical and emotional act, drawing upon the darkness within the user to unleash devastation upon their enemies. At its core, Force lightning is a manifestation of the dark side's philosophy. The dark side thrives on negative emotions, anger, fear, hatred, and pain, and Force lightning is the ultimate expression of these emotions weaponized. The energy is not simply raw electricity but a product of the wielder's inner turmoil and their desire to dominate and destroy. The more hatred and rage the user channels, the more powerful the lightning becomes, which is why it is often wielded by Sith Lords who have embraced the dark side completely. Force lightning also represents the dark side's fundamental nature. It is inherently destructive and corrupting. The user must draw deeply on their own life force and the Force itself to produce the energy, and in doing so, they damage not only their enemies but also themselves. Over time, the repeated use of Force lightning can leave physical scars on the user, as seen in the case of Darth Sidious, whose face was deformed after prolonged exposure to his own lightning. This self-damaging quality reflects the broader truth of the dark side, that its power comes at a cost, and its use inevitably leads to corruption and decay. The effects of Force lightning are devastating on both physical and metaphysical levels. When directed at a target, the lightning causes excruciating pain, disrupts the victim's nervous system, and burns the flesh. In some cases, it can even kill instantly, depending on the strength of the attack and the resilience of the victim. However, the damage goes beyond the physical. Force lightning can also attack a victim's connection to the Force, severing their ability to draw upon it and leaving them vulnerable and powerless. The psychological impact of Force lightning should not be underestimated. For victims, the sheer agony and terror of being subjected to such a power can break their will, leaving them submissive to the wielder. This makes Force lightning not only a weapon of destruction, but also a tool of domination and intimidation, allowing Sith Lords to assert their dominance over others. Force lightning is not a singular technique but has several variants, each reflecting the skill and intent of the wielder. Lesser practitioners of the dark side may produce weaker, unfocused bursts of lightning, while masters like Darth Sidious can unleash devastating storms of energy capable of overwhelming multiple opponents at once. Advanced techniques include Force storms, which are large-scale manifestations of dark side energy capable of annihilating entire fleets or planets, though such techniques require immense power and carry great risks to the user. Some Sith, such as Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, use Force lightning with precision and finesse, striking with calculated intent to incapacitate rather than destroy. Others, like Sidious, wield it as an unrestrained torrent of destruction, embodying the chaos of the dark side. The diversity of its applications demonstrates the versatility of Force lightning as both a weapon and an extension of the Sith's will. Force lightning is more than just a combat ability. It is a symbol of the Sith's ideology and the corrupting nature of the dark side. It represents the Sith's belief in the supremacy of power and their willingness to sacrifice everything to achieve it. The technique's reliance on hatred and rage reflects the Sith's rejection of balance and harmony in favor of domination and chaos. At the same time, the self-destructive nature of Force lightning serves as a reminder of the cost of wielding the dark side. Just as the Sith use the Force to dominate others, they are also dominated by it, consumed by their own hatred and greed. The scars left by Force lightning, both on its victims and its users, are a testament to the dark side's corrupting influence. Force lightning is one of the most iconic manifestations of the dark side, embodying its destructive, corrupting, and dominating nature. Fueled by hatred and rage, it is both a weapon of immense power and a symbol of the Sith's rejection of natural harmony. Its devastating effects, both physical and metaphysical, make it a tool of terror and domination, wielded by the most powerful and ruthless practitioners of the dark side. Yet, like all aspects of the dark side, it comes at a cost, leaving its mark on those who use it and reflecting the broader truth that the dark side is ultimately self-destructive. In the end, Force lightning stands as a testament to the power and peril of the dark side, a manifestation of the Sith's unrelenting ambition and their inevitable fall. The inability of Darth Vader to use traditional Force lightning has long been attributed to the limitations of his cybernetic body and life-supporting armor. As an artificial construct, his prosthetic limbs lack the organic connection necessary to channel and project the electrical energy generated by Force lightning. Additionally, the sensitive electronics in his armor would likely short-circuit if exposed to such power, making its use a self-destructive act. However, there exists a compelling theoretical possibility for Vader to harness Force lightning in an unconventional way, by channeling the dark side energies around him rather than directly from within his body. While traditional Force lightning requires a Sith to channel their own hatred, rage, and anger into energy, there is a theoretical possibility for an advanced Sith like Darth Vader to manipulate external dark side energies to produce a similar effect. This method would bypass the physical limitations imposed by his cybernetic body and life-supporting armor, allowing him to weaponize the dark side in a manner befitting his immense power. The Force, especially the dark side, exists as an omnipresent energy field, shaped by the emotions and suffering of sentient beings. A skilled Sith like Vader, who is deeply attuned to the dark side, could potentially draw upon the ambient dark side energy in his surroundings, particularly in places of great pain, fear, and death, to fuel a variant of Force lightning. Instead of generating the energy internally and projecting it through his hands, Vader could act as a conduit, shaping and directing the external energy through sheer will and mastery of the Force. To achieve this, Vader would need to focus on manipulating the dark side energy fields around him, gathering and amplifying the latent hatred, fear, and despair that saturates the environment. This process would involve Vader could pull dark side energy from areas heavy with emotional turmoil or death, such as battlefields, Sith temples, or even the emotions of his enemies. His mere presence often inspires fear and hatred, creating a ripe energy source. Through concentration, Vader could refine and amplify this external energy, shaping it into a coherent and destructive form, similar to traditional Force lightning. Instead of emitting the energy through his body, Vader could project it externally, creating arcs of dark side energy that lash out at his enemies without risking damage to his life support systems. This technique would require exceptional skill and concentration, but as one of the most powerful Sith Lords in history, Vader possesses the raw power and discipline to achieve it. By channeling external dark side energies to produce Force lightning, Vader could unleash devastating attacks while preserving his armor and life support systems. This method would also align with his calculated and methodical approach to combat, allowing him to exploit his surroundings and turn the emotions of his enemies against them. Such a technique could manifest in several ways. By harnessing the dark side energy in a confined area, Vader could create concentrated bursts of lightning that strike multiple opponents simultaneously, overwhelming them with a torrent of destructive energy. Vader's ability to inspire terror in his enemies would enhance the power of this technique, as the fear generated by his presence would feed directly into the energy he channels. In areas rich with dark side energy, such as ancient Sith tombs or sites of great suffering, Vader's ability to harness external energy would be exponentially increased, making him an even more formidable force. The use of this technique would also reflect the Sith philosophy of domination and control. By weaponizing the environment and the emotions of those around him, Vader would demonstrate his mastery over the Force and his ability to bend all things, living or otherwise, to his will. This method would also highlight the inherently parasitic nature of the dark side, which thrives on consuming and corrupting external sources of power. Furthermore, this approach would reinforce the idea of Vader as a walking manifestation of the dark side. Just as his cybernetic body represents his physical enslavement to the dark side, his ability to channel its energy externally would symbolize his complete immersion in its destructive philosophy. In this sense, Vader would become a true embodiment of the Sith ideal, a being who not only wields the dark side but also embodies its relentless hunger and domination. While the potential for Vader to use Force lightning through external energy manipulation is intriguing, it would not be without its challenges. This method would likely require significant preparation and focus, making it difficult to use in fast-paced combat situations. Additionally, the reliance on external energy sources might limit its effectiveness in environments where dark side energy is less concentrated. Darth Vader's inability to use traditional Force lightning due to his cybernetic limitations does not preclude the possibility of him employing a variant of the technique by channeling dark side energies from his surroundings. By acting as a conduit for external energy, Vader could unleash devastating attacks without endangering his life support systems. This approach would align with his tactical brilliance, his unparalleled mastery of the dark side, and his ability to dominate and weaponize his environment. While challenging and potentially dangerous, such a technique would further cement Vader's status as one of the most powerful and terrifying Sith Lords in the galaxy.